Hello and welcome back to You Up for More. I'm Jordana Abraham.
And I am Jared Freed. It is so good to be back here with you, Jordana. We're going to talk about the Love is Blind reunion episode.
And the finale.
And the finale.
Right.
Oh, we didn't even talk about the finale.
No, last time we recapped the show, we only did everything up until right before the finale.
We just had this whole meeting, and what are we going to talk about?
They go over the stuff in the finale in the
right.
The reunion.
Well, so I guess to go over the finale, it starts with Chelsea and Jimmy discussing at the theme park whether they're going to get married or not.
Right.
What did you think of that scene?
I thought it was definitive proof of my theory about men and women and how they do breakups.
Yes.
To where, again, like, I think men are the only ones who do this thing where they do, not to gender stereotype, but I'm about to fully gender stereotype, where he seems like he's totally in. Every 5 seconds, he's like, I love Chelsea. She's incredible. I love this woman so much. She's incredible. I can't, like, I'm engaged. This is my wife. He keeps talking about being engaged. This is my wife, future wife. And then he's like, well, what do you want to do? And she's like, yeah, I'm feeling like good about it. And he's like, oh, actually, I'm out. It's so a man way to do it, because I think when women want to break up with you, you know it. Like with Laura, you knew it wasn't like, oh my God, is Laura like into this or not into this? Like she's constantly being like, please change, please change, please change.
Right.
Please apologize, please just like, and with Jimmy, he's like just secretly thinking about his exit the whole time. And then just said, you know what I mean? Like it's seemingly out of nowhere is how it appears.
To generalize, women will work on it again and again and again. They'll work, and then men will end things before the next step. And that's what Jimmy did. Right, but with the last possible second.
But why not break up with her after that conversation? After the conversation where he was like they got into that big fight and he said, where she talked about him sleeping with his friend and was acting like a lunatic.
Here's my opinion. The reason he does this, if I'm to get inside the mind of the murderer, he knew that Chelsea was going to make his life a living hell. No matter when he ended it with her, it was going to be fireworks and guns blazing. She was going to go out shooting guns everywhere.
At the reunion, she seemed fine after he broke up with her.
A year later, the reunion, at the breakup, she does everything. He had to build a case.
Okay.
He was, over the course of time, and you could tell, Jimmy's obsessed with being a quote-unquote good guy, which is who is the guy.
Looks don't matter. I love Chelsea.
Right.
I'm so in love.
So he had to build a case where over time, Chelsea had enough things happen where he could put them out on the table if he had to. So even at the last possible second, he goes, so do you still want to get engaged? And then she's like, of course. Or do you still want to get married? He's like,
he's hoping that was his last ditch effort for her to be like, to make it a her thing.
Right.
That's why she went first.
And he's like,
he was hoping she would break up with herself.
Exactly. And he's like, oh, I wish you wouldn't have said that. Well, I don't want to get married. And that's the moment where you see her do all the, her, after him saying, I don't want to get married, you could see she had nothing to grab onto. She goes, you did this all so that you could party at an amusement park. It's like, that's why he's saying
he took her to the amusement park he went to growing up. Like, I do think that there's it's a little fucked up to just pretend everything's fine and then just randomly drop the thing. I think men think that they are better guys because they do it this way and they're hoping that the problem will solve itself.
It's a Band-Aid rip. You don't know when to do it.
It's actually, I could tell you when to do it. Like, I think if they had that fight, he leaves, I think he leaves or she leaves, I forget.
Men, take notes. This is when you end it.
I think they think the respectful way to do it is to wait 3 months later or whatever, like a certain amount of time later, and then do it after a great day. No, the way to do it
calm the beast down.
You have this fight. You're both talking and thinking about this fight.
Yeah.
It's fresh, and to me, that's clear evidence of it's not working. I think the next day she should have come back. Or I forgot who left. Whatever. They come back together, and he's saying, listen, I really don't think this is gonna work. I just feel like whatever happened last night just kind of felt like a deal breaker for me. And to me, he would have looked like a better guy doing it after that, and then pretending everything was fine, pretending they got making up with her.
You could tell
talking about how much he loves her, and then breaking up with her. I think I don't know what the male mindset is where they think that that's a better route to go.
It's actually a little demeaning if you think about it. He's handling her with kid gloves. It's
like she's a wild beast that he needs to
I literally just. he's got to like tame easy.
It's insulting.
Oh, you're going to be just fine. You're going to be good. Don't worry. Go to brunch with your friends.
Right. Everything's good. Yeah. Everything's good. I'm into you.
Well, I mean, this is actually, that final episode, the wedding episode, is a trip into the male mind. You know, like if you think about it and how breakups and how they see relationships. Because Clay and AD, Clay, the whole walk down the aisle, right. He is Peter positivity.
Yeah, it's like
he is game. I love her. My family's here.
I've just been thinking this the whole time.
And he gets too, and I actually think Clay might be the dumbest person I've ever seen on reality TV. Like he gets too. There's only one way. I'm like, I'm trying to think of like what was he thinking?
Right.
Because he gets to the altar. And he says
right until the very last second.
And that I don't think it would be respectful of me to go and be married the way I am right now. And it's like, and he actually looks at her and is like, but I'd love to be together. And you're like, the idea that a woman on the altar would raise your hand in front of her friends and family and go, We're just dating and be happy about it is crazy. But he actually thought that.
I mean, here's the thing. I thought all of his thoughts were the thoughts that he had, completely valid. I'm not ready to get married. I don't feel like I'm mature enough. I've been talking about how extremely difficult it's going to be for me to cheat at every possible second of this entire thing. Right. I don't feel completely ready that I'm like going to be a good husband at this moment. Totally fine. Totally reasonable. Completely normal. Why didn't you say that yesterday?
Right. At an amusement park. At your favorite amusement park. Do it.
That's the thing. I feel like again,
it's a Three Bears situation. It's like Jimmy did it too cold. Clay did it too hot. There's a middle ground here.
But Jimmy wanted breaking up with her.
Right. But don't do it. This was a deal breaker. But also don't do it at your favorite amusement park. Do it before. And then it's like, Clay, don't do it at the altar.
I mean, there's a classy way to do things, and then there's like a non-classy. I think both of those things were not classy.
I will also, but in my most empathetic view, which it's hard to empathize. I don't think it's hard to empathize with Jimmy. I think it's easy to find what he was doing. Mm-hmm. To empathize with Clay, I didn't see this as a manipulative. It is a manipulative move, but not in the. It's manipulative in the sense that they're like, how do I do this at the moment that I think is most reasonable? And it's just a dumb thought.
I mean, it's like, to me, that's for Clay, that's the moment that would cause her the most pain of any moment. It's like everyone can watch you get broken up with or whatever, get dumped at the altar.
He really thought she was going to be like happy about that. I really think he thought that this was and you could see him by the fence afterwards being like, wow, that was a huge mistake. Like you could see him like rethinking it. And you're like,
he really didn't think through this at all.
At all. And you have the moment with his mom and dad where they have them mic'd up and
they were like
talking about their relationship and the mom saying like, I don't want to,
The mom was like the best person on the show. Well, the dad was like so annoying. He's like, he just needs to find someone like you. She's like, what the fuck are you talking about? You cheated on me.
Right. But you're seeing like how much direction he has in all this. Like, I don't know, who's he gonna talk to? His dad is obviously still talking like like a guy who thinks that they're all cool.
Well,
him and his ex-wife, he's talking to his ex-wife as if they are good, and the ex-wife is like, we are far from good.
She's like, we are okay,
right? We're as good as you could be for someone that got cheated on.
But you really fucked up this kid.
It was.
Well, she was like, he wants to be in a committed relationship, which I thought was like the interesting. She was like, clearly he like wants this. Like he's like going quite far with this. There's something about him that can't seal the deal, like because of you, because he's seen this like what seems like it's because I think the thing about his parents that's important is that they did seemingly get along pretty well.
Right.
So he's probably like, just because we get along really well, just because she's great and I like love her doesn't mean that like this isn't going to happen.
That I won't cheat.
Yeah, it almost would be like better for him if his parents were like screaming at each other in a disaster because he could be like, oh, this isn't like that.
Right. And if I feel this way, I won't have that.
Right. And I mean, it's funny when we were watching, and then he's apologizing at the reunion. And he's And he seems like genuine. He's like, I've been to therapy. I'm trying to work this out. Like, I really made a mistake. And I mean, there's something about me, I guess, that like loves a toxic relationship because I was like, I really feel like they could make it work.
Well, I mean, to jump ahead to the reunion, when he's talking at the reunion, it brought me back to him talking on the way to the altar. Like, I was like,
that's the thing.
If I'm AD, I go,
talker.
He does this. This is what he does.
Well,
I don't know.
Said.
Yeah, like I actually was watching the Clay AD reunion part, thinking to myself, like, don't go back to him. Like I like he's talking about therapy. He's saying all the right things, and I'm like, no. There's got to be action here. I was
mean,
actually
therapy is the action part of it.
But just say he goes, I've changed therapists. As if that's a huge deal. Because like we've gone from men saying, I went to therapy, and all of us going,
I found the right
you did
therapist.
It. And now he's learned. It's like I am number one person of like, I don't buy the men saying they went to therapy.
I'm like such a sucker. I was like, this is the wrong advice to give. But I'm like, I just feel like these two kids can make it work.
And AD, like you're just sitting there.
But she's like holding strong. I was like,
I was happy for her. And I was happy for Clay because he does seem like a good guy. Like he does seem like someone I want to hang with. Like even him, like it does seem like he's doing the right things, but who knows?
Right. He does seem like a good person. Like he's not trying to like.
I liked what he said about he's like happy wife, happy life. We always get that.
Right.
And I thought that was.
I knew you would resonate with that.
It really did. He was like, but no one ever talks about like, I was an athlete and going from that lifestyle to, this kind of domestication is hard. The admission that it's hard, and then
which is again,
and Tiffany and Brett.
I think they could have kept dating if he broke up with her the day before.
I agree, and I think that's what he sees.
Right.
I think he sits there going, "This mistake is something I have to live with now because I." AD
is like a reasonable person, and but I also think she has a lot of pride, and so him embarrassing her in this way, I think is going to make her like over the relationship. But I do think that if he did it in a way that felt more respectful, like I think she just felt extremely disrespected, as I would too.
I wouldn't want. I'm with AD. I wouldn't want to be with someone who can't see that, who's not mature enough to see that I don't want to be someone's girlfriend at the wedding altar. Like I just.
They made the sneakers. Come on.
I don't know. So to bring it back to the weddings, then we go to Johnny and Amanda. I could care less about
nothing.
Johnny and Amy. I don't even know their names. Johnny and I keep calling her Amanda. Johnny and Amy. They just ring young to me. I don't care. There's nothing to talk about. Yeah. They're happy. Who cares?
Great.
Good for them. They go on trips. He doesn't know about condoms. They'll learn together.
He did some research.
Right. Their whole story, just like, I don't know who's watching. So we go to the reunion, and
well, the reunion made me understand why this season, because I haven't watched since season 1. The reunion made me understand why this season in particular was so watchable and so good, because he names 11 couples that got married, and 9 are still together. And I'm like, well, there's only one couple on this season that got married. So the reason people are watching is because it didn't work this time.
Right. There was messiness.
Right.
We want messiness.
Of course. And that's what I'm saying. The Johnny and Amy thing, no one gives a shit.
Right. And when we open the episode and we have Nick and Vanessa, like, they need
They are so annoying. I can't believe they're still the hosts of this.
They're the most hateable couple I've ever seen.
This show.
I would. We should host it, and we should also. They need a producer. I don't know who's producing this show. They start, first of all,
they have all the former castmates working on the show is the issue. The woman's like,
right.
Oh, like, how are you guys being able to travel? Now I work for Love is Blind.
Like, what? Who cares? Why? What do we? You knew Nick and Vanessa. Also, they start the show with Nick and Vanessa going in the pods. They've never been curious to see what it's like to talk through the pods. 6 seasons in, you haven't done this once. And it's just, they start with the happy couples. And it's like, what are we doing? I don't care about Johnny and Amy. Right. I don't care. And they spend like this, like we wanted Sarah Ann and Jeremy and Laura.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted Chelsea, Jimmy, and Jessica.
Right.
We wanted a little bit of Trevor, maybe.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, like
I
who
don't
was
know.
cutting this thing? We got to get Jorge in there. This
Right.
whole team should just replace the entire Love Is Blind
I couldn't agree
back
more.
end production.
Nick and Vanessa are, Michael and Jan at the dinner party. They are the most uncomfortable couple to be around. It's to the point where I actually enjoy being around them, just so I'm reminded
So you can make fun of them?
as what the worst couple would be like to be around. Like, I don't know what witch cursed Nick Lachey.
I was thinking that. I was like, if only like you could have like a fairy go to Nick and Jessica when if you rewatch that show now, he's kind of a dick to her.
Right. She's like fun.
Yeah, she's like fun and like flirty and like
Yes.
sweet. And he's like constantly kind of like
A curmudgeon.
making fun of her and like thinking he's too cool for her. I would love to go there and show them like Jessica Simpson in 2024 versus Nick Lachey in 2024.
It's a sliding doors moment. It is like, and
Good for Jessica Simpson.
to defend Nick, the whole country made fun of Jessica Simpson. She was kind of the butt of like.
But he's her husband.
Right. I agree with you. But then Jessica goes on to start a clothing line. She's a billionaire.
She's a billionaire. She like doesn't
lives quietly, married a former football player who went to Needham High. My high school, Eric Johnson. Shout out Needham High, go Rockets.
Kids friends with Northwest. She's
like
killing it.
She just has this like celebrity adjacent life.
Like the ideal life you could imagine. Like used to be in the public eye, now just quietly makes a shit ton of money.
Right. And I'm sure someone will DM us a story about how horrific Jessica Simpson's life is or something that's happened. I hope not. I actually hope the best for her.
I would say if you objectively look at the way the trajectory of both of their careers, Jessica Simpson won.
Listen, Nick Lachey, there are times where Vanessa like picks at him and I don't understand how it gets edited into this show. Like
what part?
He made a comment about like, he's like, we got the receipts, which is like a very hosty thing to say. Like, right. I don't care how old you are. It's in the teleprompter. Hey, and we got the receipts. We'll be back after this. That's what he says, something like that. And she like pops in and be like, what are you saying receipts for? And it's like, you could see him turn to her like, are you going to embarrass me in front of these people? Like, it's like, we're hosting this show. Like, there's so many more, and I don't want to put this all on Vanessa. I don't want to be like curmudgeon Nick to Jessica, but like, it just feels like a couple that like, they've just met. Like,
right. Well, I feel like they have some issues on their back end because they keep saying how great they're doing.
Well, who? Nick and Vanessa. Well, he brings up there's a part where she says nitpicking or something, and he points at her. Like, right. There's like really awkward moments. Like,
I think they're trying to be like, oh, we're relatable. We're like portraying ourselves as not perfect.
They need Jeff Probst to host this show.
They're just not like, they have no charm, I think.
There's no charm. They reference living in Hawaii. Like, they're a speed bump. Like, it's like crazy.
It's clearly like they live in Hawaii. They need to like come to the mainland once a fucking year to do this reunion so they can pay for this shit.
They're very tough to watch, but I also now like the toughness of watching them. Like, now I'm on the lookout.
Right.
Like, now it's like part of the show once a year to like see how uncomfortable they are.
The show could be improved with hosts that are like just like more like on Andy Cohen. Like, it's funny, like you're talking about like the production of this reunion.
Right.
Like, speak to Andy Cohen, consult with him. I'm sure he has an hourly rate. He can tell you how to make a reunion that is like cut well.
Well, that's the thing is I don't trust them to not do to host this and make it about the other people. So there's examples of this. Right. So the Trevor thing. We'll start with the Trevor thing because the Trevor thing, you bring on Trevor, who the internet already knows. He has sex with an ex. The ex has put them out there that he was with her before going on the show.
Yeah.
And then after leaving the show, tells her he loves her and can't wait to be back with her now that it's over.
Before the show too, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
So this ex isn't really absolved of not being in on it. Like,
he says they had a toxic relationship, which to me, rings very true.
It seems to be.
If you're sending the text to the production of Love Is Blind,
right,
after clearly you had some sort of side agreement that this is what he was going to do,
right? You knew this,
right?
So
she's fucked up. He's fucked up.
But then Trevor comes on. It seemed as though, and I actually now I kind of like feel for Trevor because I don't know. I think he came on like, okay, now this is already out there, so I guess we're gonna have a discussion of like how my time on the show and why I did this. I think he thought there would be some sort of empathetic, like, yeah, you discussed it with someone. I can understand him going on the show going, and this is a very...
he had a pre-planned speech that he completely forgot.
Apparently.
That was very funny. Even I, alone on my couch, was when after they read those texts, I was kind of just like my face to no one was just like, if you're watching on YouTube, I was just like, because it was so quiet for so long.
Yeah.
And it just reminded me of every guy that I've ever tried to confront about anything. Just like hoping that if they're quiet for long enough, maybe you'll disappear.
Right. Maybe a whole studio audience and cameras will disappear.
Can I leave now?
It was sad. I don't know what the value of hammering him was.
I mean, it was I thought it was a reunion highlight. I enjoyed it. Maybe I'm the worst person.
I watched it thinking, I was just like,
his reaction was funnier than the text.
Right. The text, I go, like, listen, if I was him, the answer to that is, and it's most men think the next person coming along is going to be this angel who I fall in love with and my perfect match.
Right. I was open, but also I had a backup.
Yeah.
And that's someone who, I think the toxic relationship thing did make sense to me.
Right. And I do think it is it's why the dating apps are dangerous for the male, mind. Like, the next swipe is the one that's going to make me forget being single and doesn't want to be, the freedom of being single and being able to go out with whoever I want. Right. The next person is going to be this. It is a thing. And so him going on the show makes sense to me. That he would have someone he had some sort of thing with that obviously was off and on. Right. To write "I love you" when you get off the show immediately is crazy of him too. But it felt like we were beating up on like someone who didn't have the capacity to like be in the fight. Like, it kind of felt like he was punch drunk. Like, you'd be like, if I was a ref, I'd be like, call the fight. This guy isn't capable of handling himself. He's kind of
already quit.
I feel a little bad. I understand what you're saying. I don't feel that bad because I saw how he was on TikTok before all of this came out.
Oh, what did he do on TikTok?
So that's the thing. Like, so Sarah Ann came out like swinging, like angry and ready to like jump back at all of the backlash that she got. Trevor came out like a wounded puppy. We all felt very bad. He's like awkwardly staring. It was funny. I agree with you. Because,
I thought it was hysterical.
Why did you come if you're not going to speak? But like, here's the thing.
He didn't have the ability.
He was riding the wave of like the Love Is Blind stuff before the season even aired. He's posting regular TikToks. Once Love Is Blind is out, he's posting like flirty TikToks, like the mullet is gone, him shirtless walking on the beach.
Right.
And like showing off the puppies, like working out, making fun of Chelsea not picking him. And once the ex whatever, because he discredited her as a girlfriend immediately.
Oh, wow.
Once the ex whatever comes out with the text and shows he was with me when he went into those pods. They were not broken off. They were not on a break. It was just, he's going to go do this experience. Texted her, you understand, I had to pretend this wasn't real life. Right. Like, said those in the text.
Right.
That's a good point, Kenneth.
No, it's a good point.
Shut up once she went on TikTok with those texts. Like, shut up immediately.
That's why
I don't feel bad.
Well, that part is crazy.
Right. Feeling bad is a strong... I take back the feeling bad part.
I just don't understand how men are so stupid.
He's this guy, to do that
like, that's
is a level of stupidity.
That's the theme of this whole episode. This is crazy.
Well, here's the thing. This is why, this kind of like brings us to Jessica, to me. Because Trevor was living on TikTok off of, you have a good edit if you're dumped on this show in the pods.
Right.
It is just, that is the truth. So Trevor gets beloved because he's man who wants to commit, who got dumped.
Right.
Which is like, that is, aside from man with dead wife.
Second best.
So
man who got his heart broken.
Right. Man who got his heart. There it is.
Sure.
And then and he's living on it. He's dining on that.
Right.
Then the ex goes, no, because we can't like you too much. I think you're a dick. And I got the proof you're a dick. And now, the proof of you being a dick comes in different forms. His was a pretty big form of being a dick.
Yeah, I mean, it's just unwise to me. Well, here's the thing. If he got like edited out almost entirely, I think his plan would have worked out fine. Like if he like just didn't like one of the random I don't know how many people there are on the actual show, like 30. If he was one of those people who got like no screen time and he had this toxic thing with this girl and he was like, let me go on and see, for my career this will be helpful, and then he actually like, got out immediately, no one cared about him or thought about him. Okay, I'm out, like let's go hang out and have sex. Like that would have been great.
Well, this is the seduction of social media. Mm-hmm. Like, to me, this is like in it for the wrong reasons. He didn't even realize he was in it for the wrong reasons until he gets a taste of TikTok, and now he's puppy dog face. Right. Give me some views.
Riding the wave.
Right? Let me ride the wave. He was so intoxicated by social media and its charm and the follow that he forgot
that he's actually the bad guy.
Right, that he has these texts out there. That's why when Jessica gets, the confrontation between Jimmy and Jessica, and Jimmy says that she had a good edit. Yes, she did have a good edit. By virtue of getting dumped in the pods and then not seeing what you're like as a real significant other to someone, you get a good, and she's a mom, so she can always reference as a mother. Mm-hmm. We don't get to see her as a mother. We get to see her produced version of being a mother, her doing TikToks with her daughter, who never watched the show. I don't buy that. She seemed a lot
more into her daughter, and again, maybe people will come for me for this. I feel like she seemed a lot more into the daughter after she spoke about the daughter. And at the reunion on the show, she was like trying to pretend she didn't have a daughter.
Right. The whole daughter thing she's doing, listen, this is what people do on social media as a mother. Mom talk, mom TikTok. It's all, again, it's a show.
I thought she did what she did with hiding the fact that she had a daughter was like a man lying about his height on a dating app. Once they get to know me, they're not going to care.
I don't think women would take it as well the other way around. Hiding your kid. Fall in love with me first and then find out about kids second. I thought that was
weird. I think that if you have a kid, you should be like, if you have a kid and you're very proud of being a mom, as she's saying that she is at this reunion, saying how obsessed with her daughter is, I would lead with that. I would be like, that's a big part of my life. Right. I love my daughter. Instead of, that's like such a huge part of who you are. You're going to pretend you don't have that until they like you and then tell them.
Right. And if you're going to be a detective here. And
you're saying it's a positive. If you're saying it's a positive thing, which she's clearly saying it's a positive thing.
Right. But if your motive is to be on TV, and the way to be on TV more is to have more men fall in love with you.
Right.
And maybe a kid might get in the way of that. Well, I'll hide the kid until I have men falling in love with me and I know I'm on the show.
Right.
And listen, if you're saying, Jared, what a piece of shit, how do you know her motivations to be on the show? Well, at the end of the episode, she's casting another show.
Right.
So, hence, this person likes being on TV. Mm-hmm. So, whether you want to buy that or not, because maybe, I can understand someone saying, don't talk about a mother that way. Again, that's the plan from this person.
Right. I mean, again, I don't have kids, so I can't say what it would be like to date with a kid. But from my perspective,
I can understand that it's tough.
I just felt like she was like, switching how excited about being a mom she was once it was already out there.
I was just going to point out the backlash that she did get from other mothers where why would you be willing to go marry a stranger right away within 4 weeks and then have them live with you and your child instead of like, isn't that unsafe and everything? So like she did get some flack from like other moms.
I mean, I'm not a mom.
Even I don't that backlash. I'm like, that backlash.
Actually, I actually feel like that this is better than like ever. Honestly, like all these people are background checked. All these people are there's like camera crews everywhere. It feels like almost like safer than doing that in another scenario.
Right. I would defend her against that backlash to give her different backlash. But like,
and again, we don't have kids, so I don't want to like comment on what's correct parenting or not correct parenting. But I do feel like it was more about the way that she presented the kid and changed the way that she was presenting having the kid.
Right. I would be more uncomfortable to be like, how could you let a stranger in your house with a child? Right. I'm more comfortable.
Camera crew everywhere. Right. Yeah, like the kid's going to be fine.
I'm way more comfortable in talking about the dating sense of I'm a man who, if I was in the pods and then found out, 17 hours later after I've poured my heart out to this person, and also I have a kid. and then I'm the villain,
right?
Because
that's kind of what she present. She like laid him up in that way,
right? So maybe she wants to be on TV. Okay, so let's go back. Sarah Ann and Jeremy. What did you think of them? A full heel turn.
Jeremy looks like such a fucking asshole. He looks like the worst. Everyone on the show, again, I feel like has this sense of you're a good person. He seems like a huge dick.
He seems like a dick who doesn't want to admit he's a dick.
Which is the worst kind.
Right.
It's at least own it if you are one.
The Hawaiian shirt, like I don't know who these Hawaiian shirt bros that are cheering him on. Like I don't.
It seems like he's doing it to be like annoying
and funny. Right. I don't understand who's laughing at his jokes. Right. Like I don't see it. I think I thought the whole thing with Sarah Ann, where she's just like not backing down, like and defending. Mm-hmm. Well, and it felt like Sarah Ann was like, I need love, fuck everyone else, which that is a personality type.
Right. Here's the thing about her DMing Jeremy, right, that everyone was so worked up about. I actually think that was not that big of a deal.
Okay.
I think she's right. I mean, everyone was like, he's engaged. What are you doing? It's like, he's been engaged for 5 minutes to a woman he met 2 weeks ago, same time as me.
And turned me down 2 minutes ago.
Yes. Also broke up with me 2 minutes ago. I think the fact that she wanted to send this DM, he's not married yet.
Right.
If you're thinking, I just want, and to me, that's almost like that's more about love. Like, let's say she's really into, she's going to shoot her shot one last time. He could have easily said, thank you. I'm doing really well in my relationship. It didn't have to be like such a big thing if he just turned her down correctly and he wasn't into it. I think the fact that I don't think that was that fucked up.
It's not her battle to fight.
Right.
Like, I think it's more his battle.
She's shooting her. It's not a regular engaged situation.
No, it's not the same as you getting engaged and after a random guy being like, hey, if anything, I don't know. Like, I guess if...
It's like she was dating him like a week ago.
What if okay, let me present a different scenario. Mm-hmm. You get engaged. A guy that you had a situationship with for 5 years finds out you're engaged and sends you that DM.
What's the DM? Hey,
I've really been thinking, you're the one that got away from me. If this thing doesn't work out.
Via DM? No.
Okay, I'm just saying that would be, I guess I'm trying to find the equivalent in real life because that is the equivalent. Like, you do have a relation, like the situationship that just fizzled away. You never had closure on.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Kind of creeps their head back in.
I think
it would be a dick of them too.
I think I think to do that via DM would be like
a text. What if it's a text? You get a text, and then I guess if you kept that text and were nice to it and weren't immediately like,
probably be a problem in my relationship.
I would have an issue with you more than the
well, that's what I'm saying.
The guy,
There'd be an issue in my relationship if I saw that text and then I was like entertaining it and creating a conversation and then going and hanging out with someone until 5 a.m. That's on the person who's in the relationship.
Right. So that's why
I didn't think she was the villain there. I think he was really... I don't think it was anything wrong with really what she did. It's not her job to protect this relationship. Again, it's a reality show. They met 2 weeks ago. I didn't think she was like, my 96-year-old grandma was on a flight. I'm like, yeah, that production paid for. Like, it was good. Like,
I don't buy Laura's victimhood as much as she's selling it.
Right. I think she's a victim of Jeremy.
Yeah. Right.
I don't think she's a victim of Sarah Ann. I don't think Sarah Ann really did anything wrong. Like, is it the nicest thing you could possibly do? No, but is it given the context of the engagement? I didn't think it was like so horrible.
It's just, from that perspective, like it did feel like Jeremy has Sarah Ann as his like guard dog. Like it felt like
it seems like they conveniently got back together before this reunion so that they could like have each other against the world.
Right. And they kind of like felt like a couple that got married from high school that still like lives off the drama from high school. Like they stuck around the hometown. They just gave their whole energy was very hometown idiot. Like I just like I enjoyed them as a team because they seem so delusional as a team.
Right. They weirdly worked.
Right.
Somehow.
And they were very WWE villains tag team, like people I would boo as they were entering the ring.
Which seems so silly to me if they wanted to be, because if he wanted to be liked by America, there's a formula and it's Clay's.
Right. Clay did the move. I still want to be with you. I've gone to therapy.
I'm sorry.
I've switched therapists, so that means I'm a big therapy guy.
I'm so sorry. And I think the thing with Jeremy that's so annoying is he just keeps doubling down. And he's like insulting her.
Even the engagement he had before the show, he didn't really, wouldn't admit that would be.
Well, he said he told that.
Well, they put that away.
They both agreed that he told them. And again, I knew I knew he was engaged because of that gold cutlery.
You did.
I was just like, there's no way that he went to a store, picked that out as like a single man. Like, can you imagine just buying a gold cutlery?
No, I can't imagine using the word cutlery.
Right. I knew there was some background story to that, but I think the thing with Sarah, he should have been like, I lied, I fucked up, I got nervous. I knew I messed up, and so I told you that I was in the bar. I drove her home.
Right.
I'm really sorry. I can completely understand why you would think we hooked up.
Yeah.
That's a completely reason.
She didn't go.
He's like gaslighting. He's like,
right.
I didn't do that. Like nothing happened. Like you were waiting up for me. You were like, it was like you're focusing on the wrong thing.
He went complete villain.
Yeah.
He went complete. He's Hollywood Hulk Hogan. He's wearing the fucking Aloha t-shirt.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But I guess the last thing to go over is Jimmy and Chelsea, to come back to them. Mm-hmm. We end where we began. I thought she got let off the hook. She got let. I mean,
they didn't really fully go into all. I was very surprised they didn't go into like all of those fights that they had.
You can't crush Trevor the way you crush Trevor and then tiptoe around Chelsea. I think it was so I just don't understand how Nick Lachey looks at Trevor and goes, "Shame! You took our spot where these people are looking for love.
Right.
Shame!"
It's like, you don't give a shit, Nick Lachey. Yeah. You get paid either way.
Fuck off, Nick Lachey. So then I was so annoyed at that. And then to go to Chelsea and be like, and Megan Fox, and everyone laughs, when that's the root of her insecurity from the beginning, that literally spread its tentacles throughout their relationship and brought it down from its core.
I did feel like there was a sense of like Chelsea had like taken a beating from the public already, like much more so than anything I don't even really like look into this stuff, but anything popping up about this show was about Chelsea and kind of making fun of her and kind of, so I do think maybe there was this sense of like, she has been like already gotten so much shit about this from so many people, and like she's sort of known around the internet as being a psychopath for all these fights.
Well, to give empathy
ours included, our you up Instagram as well.
We were looking at it. When we talked about it last week, we were taking a 360-degree view of like a relationship that we're watching, and I don't know. I guess I give empathy to Jimmy. Why would he act with kid gloves around this woman and then break it off at the last possible second? Why would a whole production avoid touching a topic of Chelsea? Well, maybe they were all afraid of how she would react. Maybe. So why didn't they? I don't know.
I think they should have gotten into those fights more. I think those were like very interesting.
They brought. There was
I also
one.
think there's this concept of like, I think that which they're throwing around, which, like the pick me girl, like where Laura
that was
Sarah Ann are accusing each other of being the pick me girl. I feel like the pick me concept is this thing that women just constantly throw at each other to like make them feel bad.
It doesn't make sense at all.
It's always women just screaming it at each other.
Well, it's like a new thing to me too.
Which means that like you try to be like a girl that guys like, I guess.
Right. And not be a girl's girl. It's like there's either girl's girl or pick me girl. Like those are the two sides of the coin, I guess. Yeah. This used to be like, are you a bully or not? Now we've evolved to like pick me girl versus girl's girl. The accusation of like you're just a girl's girl no matter what, like it's almost like,
I guess it's like you care more about like the guy liking you than being a good friend or something.
Well,
or being a good I don't know.
It's a weird thing to bring up on a show where you literally are here to find a spouse. So like your goal on this show is to find love for yourself, or
that's why I didn't think it was that weird that she texted Jeremy.
Right, and it didn't seem like she made any friends in the pods, or so to speak, and you can feel that. I mean, the idea that Jessica and Chelsea are best friends now,
That's weird.
I mean, that's more weird than just putting aside your, like I I don't think, like, I wouldn't want to be a girl's girl ahead of feeling that I was with real friends of mine.
Right. That relationship seems like Auntie Chelsea. Like, shut up.
Right. I didn't. The most insulting thing you can call a woman is Auntie Chelsea to your kid who didn't work out with the guy that you didn't work out with.
Like,
it's
patronizing
insulting,
or something.
And here's the other thing. I hate to just beat up on Jessica again, but like her best friend now is Micah, who on her season.
Who's Micah?
Micah's the blonde that was one of the OGs who we didn't give a shit about. Get rid of the OGs. I don't need questions from them. I don't need them on the show. I guess they're doing it for social media purposes.
I think they're doing it to create like a world like The Bachelor.
Right.
Do you know where they try to create
I hate when The Bachelor does it too.
They try to create like an ecosystem of like, we are a family. We are the Love is Blind family.
I can't stand it. I want it out of here. And Micah on her season 4, right? That was the last season I watched. And her whole thing was that her friends were just these horrific people. Like, like all her friends were from like, remember that, Candace? And they were all like these Arizona State chicks who just were like mean to the guys she brought around. And it's like, oh, and now my best friend Micah and Jessica, it's like, oh, the woman who had the most horrific friends I've ever seen on TV. Not really good for the picture I'm being painted. Just all very interesting. I enjoyed the reunion. I thought it could have been an hour, not an hour 40.
I agree. I think they could have gotten rid of everything from the past Love is Blind contestants. Didn't really care about the updates for that. Didn't care about Amy and Johnny. They did know that no one cared. I feel like that was a pretty small piece of it. I didn't need to see their pictures from the whole video of the whole year.
I fast forwarded that so quickly. When the minute they were like, I just want to hear Johnny's talk about condoms.
They were trying to like minimize that conversation. They kept being like, we found like a way around it. Like, let's move on.
Right. It did feel like Johnny it was exactly what I thought. This guy thinks a condom kind of sort of works. And he's only had sex with women that have been on the pill. Like it just, and I was like, I knew exactly his stupidity.
I mean, that's
like I knew most of these men's stupidities.
Yeah. It seems like that's the theme of the show is men who just don't know things. Don't think things through. Kenneth and Britney, the fact that they're best friends was fucking weird. I don't understand. Okay, I don't touch my friend's like leg. She kept like she kept like rubbing his leg, and I'm like, if you guys are just friends,
if Jordan and I touch feet under the table, it
would be fucking weird. Yeah, it would be like we're best friends. We talk every day, and I'm like rubbing his leg.
Well, with the social media rumors that started about almost every guy on this season, then there was a rumor going around that Kenneth might be gay. And it's because of somebody that he knows personally that he's Facebook friends with. They've called each other cousin, whether they're actually really cousins.
Okay.
I don't know.
I still think it's weird, even if
But she basically said that he was closeted and went on to further his principal career. I don't know.
The whole principal thing.
Are gonna
listen.
Oh my god, I cannot imagine the field day I would have.
Quiet it down. Like I feel like people thought that they were trying to quiet down the rumors that way because for one, whether that was like a rumor or there's any truth to it, like who is the Love is Blind show to out somebody?
Right.
No,
so that's why I think the Britney thing. It kind of seemed like they were trying to cover.
I don't understand why he would go on the show if he was secretly gay. But again, even if he was,
I would feel bad for him.
Even if he was secretly gay, I think it's still weird to rub your gay friend's leg.
I don't see why they would come on the show. Like I even the way they talked about their breakup, like it wasn't interesting. Like their breakup was mean and horrific. Like it wasn't way they got such a glowing, oh, I'm on my phone too. You know, I'm on my phone because I'm a principal and I care about the kids. What are you, Mr. Belding?
Right.
Like, what principal has ever talked to the kids?
What are you doing on the phone?
Right.
But like, if she's like, I'm on the ground, it's like, okay, then why wouldn't you just be not there at the school?
I don't even think teachers need phones for work. In what world? Jorge,
does your wife have a phone?
She does, in fact, have a phone. That is correct.
But does she is she in touch with the kids in that way? Like
no, not really, no.
It was an insane...
Right, you don't need to be on your phone more than any other profession,
right.
I think,
Zach Morris is texting me. Get out of here. Their whole lie. I don't care what... There was just a bullshit...
I will say that teachers are pretty popular on TikTok, but any texts that I've seen that have gone viral on like social is not... They're not texting the kids. That was like a weird thing to say.
Didn't make any sense.
Parents maybe, but he was on his phone in the middle of the night.
Yeah, At 2 a.m.
Yeah, none of that made any sense.
Kids missed me. No, okay, that's a weirder explanation.
Right.
Than not caring that your wife wants to end it or whatever.
And they basically got the same amount of screen time as Jimmy and Chelsea, which I thought was weird because like there was so much less to unpack there.
So what is our suggestion? We liked it. I liked it because I liked the show. Not because it was well done.
Right, yeah. They don't have like a good pulse on what audiences want to see, I would say.
I would say Nick and Vanessa have zero pulse for anything that's going on in the country.
They've just been living on island time with Bachelor Joey.
Right. Well,
they just showed up yesterday.
Right. It did feel like they just got here yesterday.
Who do you guys think is still maybe together? Just because that was one of the things that people got upset with the reunion. Like Jimmy and Chelsea didn't even get relationship statuses. She addressed it in a separate interview.
She also touched his knee. There was a lot of knee touching.
It felt like Jimmy and Chelsea.
AD and Clay did too. And a TikTok went viral of them at Thanksgiving together.
It's a lot of knee touching.
When she said she was done after that wedding. So
well, I do understand when you rewatch it how hard that would be. Mm-hmm. To relive what you went through, like especially for AD, especially you mentioned like having pride and having your family, like reliving that. So I can understand like maybe you kind of come back together, her and Clay, and then it comes on again. You're like, what the fuck am I doing? Jimmy and Chelsea, there's been rumors that they're still together, but they don't even like get asked. How do you not, as the host of that show?
They didn't ask either of that. They didn't ask. Well, they asked AD, and she was like, I'm not going to answer that. And he was like, I would like to.
Yeah, so it wasn't clear with them either. And because they've been seen like...
Yeah, how could you not push on that?
They had that, like, their TikToks from the holidays, which was not theirs. It was like a family member caught them in the background. And that's what went viral, where people were like, oh my God, they're still together. For Jimmy and Chelsea, same. It was like, we've been seeing their Instagram stories and like people spying on them at restaurants together.
Right.
Where they've been together.
How could they not have asked them? Where their relationship stands now. That's
right. We're catching up with Giannina. What's her name?
Giannina from season 1.
Her name's Giannina.
Who had a
with
baby
Blake Horstman from The Bachelor. And we're not checking in with like the actual couples.
Are you dating? Have you seen each other? There was no question. What is your relationship like now? Have you spoken?
Chelsea did say in an Entertainment Weekly interview after, because they get the exclusives right after the reunion, that they are not in a relationship anymore. But then what the fuck were we just watching?
Right. Say like, say okay, that. Or ask like, what is like, when is the last time you spoke to each other? What are you like? Get into it. That was the weird thing.
Right. Listen, I of course I want us to host this show.
Yeah.
Jeff Probst from The Survivor, like there's nobody better at like stirring the pot and getting answers. Yeah. If I was
him, if not us, then him.
Right. You got two choices.
So is Andy Cohen is also very good at that.
Andy Cohen, it's just.
But we could all do it. If you're listening, Netflix.
Right, we're all available. Yeah. It's crazy. Well, that was You Up for More. Yes. I feel like...
I also just felt... one more thing on the AD thing is I felt like her body language, she seemed like she was trying to inch her way off the couch, like far away from him as possible. She did seem like I'm not a body language expert, but she seemed like trying to get very far away from him.
By the end, it was like a quarter tush on that couch. Yeah. That's it.
Slowly
did feel
inching
that way.
off. So that was the only thing that was like, maybe these two aren't, because she doesn't seem to be like wanting to look at him in the eye. The only time she was looking at him in the eye was when she was like dating Matt, the guy, and she kept wanting to like see if he was like riled up or something,
right?
Which was weird. I don't know. We need a body language expert to say exactly.
Good for
what
Matthew
was going
not
on there.
going.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that could have been.
What's going to be questioned on? Hey, man, are you an asshole?
Right.
Like it's just like.
Well, did you guys see his Instagram commentary? Because he jumped into the Netflix comments during the season while videos were coming out.
He said he got a bad edit.
He said he got a bad edit because they didn't clarify that he's sober, and that is why he had an off attitude. And it's like,
I met someone
that you should have been. You should have got a better edit because he's sober.
Right. I met.
They
someone
always say people on reality. The best way to look like an asshole on reality TV is to stay sober.
Right. I met someone who knew him from work or something, and they were like, that was like the explanation. They said that he was recently sober, and it's like,
you should be better. You should have a better edit.
Right. You can't go hang out with a bunch of guys. Like I don't understand. It just again
didn't make any sense.
The pick me girl.
Right.
He's the douchey
opposite
guy. Yeah. So. This was You Up for More. We hope you enjoyed. If you are a subscriber on YouTube, you got to watch this.
Yes.
This is if you're listening because you're a subscriber to You Up with Benefits. Thank you. And we'll be back with something similar in the future.
Yeah. The You Up podcast is produced by Jorge Morales-Pico, Sean Kilby, and Candice Maniga. Editing by Jorge Morales-Pico and Shannon Sassone. Social media by Candice Maniga. Guest booking by Ali Friedlander. Be sure to follow at you.up.podcast on Instagram and send us your emails to uup@betches.com.